Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Hi. Welcome to Girlfriend's Happy Hour.
Yeah, you guys came. Thank you.
Seems like forever since I've seen you guys.
Yeah.
It has been.
I know.
You've been gone a long time.
I did. I know.
Yeah.
Little vacation for Monica where it was like in the 90s. And then I come back and it's like scraping frost off my window.
Yeah.
Oh, today was the first morning of the
Of the frost. Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
came-
it's like
you came
wah,
back to the
wah.
frost. Mm-hmm.
Not a favorite time for me.
Yeah. No, I would have died out there. My friend Sandy lives in Arizona, and she'll send me like a snapshot of the thermometer in her car, and it's like 115 degrees.
Yeah.
And
But it's a
she's in
dry
La-
heat.
Yeah.
But FYI, you're required to say that
Oh,
by
really?
law of Arizona.
Oh,
You
okay.
have-
It's a dry heat.
It's a dry heat.
Yeah. So I loved it out there, though. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Good.
So
it's
you were
very cool.
visiting your
I was
childhood friend.
Yes, I was. Yeah. And I'm so glad I went. It was a lot of fun. And I saw something that I think it was you sent a text out, asking people if they had any interesting stories. And what amazed me is the minute you bring that up to people, someone always has a story.
Yes. Yeah. We were asking for stories because we wanted to
Personal stories, like what happened to you
personal
paranormally. Yeah.
So we wanted to hear from some of our friends and people we knew.
Yeah.
So you mentioned you were.
Yeah,
at a
we
bar.
were at, believe it or not, we were at the Dirks Bentley bar.
No.
Yeah. I don't know who.
Cool.
Apparently, my friend goes, he's a country and western singer.
Yeah.
I'm like, that
I know
hasn't been called that for years.
I know he's a country singer,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah.
But it was a very cool place. Anyways, so we were sharing a table because there was, a lot of room. So this is one of, after a couple drinks, I'm like, so you got any spooky stories? The one girl goes, well, yeah. I'm like, oh my God, it's amazing. She was a teenager at the time and her grandmother had been ill. And so she was living with them. So she and her grandma were real super close. Grandma passed away, so it was a few years later. She was going to a special high school dance and she said, oh, Mom, I wish I had Grandma's earrings, and her mom's like, I have no idea where those are. We've never been able to find them. And
Oh, wow.
she's like, all right. So that night she laid her dress out, went and took her shower, came back in on her dresser were Grandma's earrings.
Oh, my
Yeah.
God.
Isn't that? And she showed her mom. She's like, Mom, where did you find them? Her mom's like, find what? Grandma's earrings. She's like, what? And here's where it gets even crazier. She goes to the dance wearing Grandma's earrings, had a great time, put them on the dresser. In the morning, they were gone.
Oh, my God. No.
And no one has
no,
seen
no,
them
no.
since.
Oh, my God.
Isn't that amazing?
I feel like it's some sort of like reverse Cinderella type of story or something.
I know, but it was just like, as she's telling me this, I'm like, I'm getting goosebumps. I loved it.
That's kind of sweet though. It's like
I thought
almost
so,
not
too.
even too spooky. It's just
Yeah.
like
Right. No,
grandma's
it's-
like,
No.
here you go. You can have my
Okay,
earrings.
and here's
for
another one
my
that's kind of
freaking-"
sweet too. People are very play them with alcohol. They'll say anything.
Yeah.
Speaking of alcohol, we haven't had our drink yet, but
Oh my God. Well, you weren't looking, but no.
No,
This
tell us
one's
the
really
story.
short though. It's very cute. This other girl said that her father had passed away years ago and then her mother passed. And she was really feeling kind of sad. It had been a few months. And so, she was doing okay. Well, all of a sudden in the middle of the night once, she woke up and her mom was there waking her up. And all of a sudden her mom's like, hey, honey. And she opened up the closet and her daughter, thinking it's dreaming, sits up and says, Mom, what are you doing here? She goes, I'm looking for my shoes because she and her daughter had the same size shoes. She's like, I'm looking for my shoes. I'm going dancing tonight with your father.
Oh.
The girl, and then all this happened and she fell asleep. She thought it was a dream. Got up in the morning. The shoes were gone from the closet.
No.
Yeah. And she's never seen them since. And she lived by herself.
No. What?
Yes, seriously. Isn't that something?
Oh. I
Again,
have so many
scary,
feelings.
but a little sweetness to it,
Very
I want to go
sweet.
dancing with your dad. So she had to get her shoes.
Oh, what a sweet
I
romance,
know it.
too, that they
See, that's
must
sweet
have had.
paranormal.
Yeah.
That's the cute paranormal.
Isn't that though?
Oh, yeah. And those stories, those just bring you comfort.
Yes.
They bring
That's a good way to put it. It
comfort
really does.
to
Yeah.
those who've
Comforting.
lost. And
Yeah.
well, that makes me think of one of my friends sent me a message of a video. I think I shared it with you guys. I don't know if you had a chance to see it.
I did. Yep.
Absolute chills. She
I
lost.
saw that one. Yes.
She lost her son.
Horrible.
He just passed away actually very recently, last December.
Oh.
And they have security cameras.
Like surveillance in like the living room.
Is it
like-
inside surveillance
Yes,
camera?
inside surveillance
yeah.
cameras that have night vision.
Yeah. Night
Oh,
vision
that's
cameras.
cool.
Yep.
And so there's this clip where there's this glowing orb, and it's very beautiful. Actually, it's this beautiful orb, and it just goes right across the living room.
Yeah, and it's
to
not
the
like
other
a
side.
duster, because I watched it like several times.
Yeah.
It's not dust because it's too big.
Right, it's too
and
big.
it's not a bug.
Well, and it
No.
has,
Yeah.
has direction. And didn't she say that it the cameras were like motion activated?
Yes.
So they wouldn't have gone.
Yes.
They wouldn't have
Yes.
recorded unless something was there. Mm-hmm. And that's what you see. That's what activated it. Was
How,
that
how
orb.
does that make her feel? I mean, is it kind of comforting to her, or
You know, I asked her that, and she said yes. It does. It makes her feel comforted
Like,
to know that he's
still
He's there. He's there with her, and it again, it's just so beautiful. It wasn't scary.
yeah,
When you think about who it might be, I guess it could be scary.
Yeah.
If you're in an unknown environment or whatever. So my heart goes out to her, and she's just the sweetest thing, and that was her only son. So I'm glad that she has that experience. And she
Yeah.
has that on tape. She said there's actually other things that the cameras caught. So
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
Really?
I love that.
wow, that is sweet.
Well, we started like lightheartedly kind of sweet this
And
time.
now we're going
We're
dark.
going to go dark. And hey, Melanie, would you like to tell us what we're going to drink today?
Because before Monica finishes hers,
Yeah, she's going to drink it all. So let's talk
Slow
about
down, lady. Oh my gosh. Well, yes, since we were going to talk about some paranormal and scary things today, again with a red drink, I call this one a Red Skull Mojito.
oh, I like that.
Yes.
it. Red Skull.
Red Skull. And I picked out that name because we are drinking Crystal Head Vodka.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you had that before?
I've not. No.
Oh, you haven't, Monica?
I'm behind on my drinking. I need to catch up with the group.
This is spooky, guys. I was gonna show Monica the bottle, the Crystal Head bottle, and I don't see it anywhere. It's
Did
disappeared.
you? Oh, it's over there.
Oh, okay.
There it is. I see it.
I thought maybe
On the
it got
shelf.
moved.
On
the
the
ghost
second-
of Dan Aykroyd moved it.
Oh.
This is Dan Aykroyd's company, his vodka company.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, it's a pure vodka, multiple distilled,
So no hangover vodka.
no hangover whatsoever.
Oh my God.
No, we had a Crystal Head party with a bunch of friends
Mm-hmm.
last year, and we just drank a lot of Crystal Head vodka, and it's really good. It's the coolest bottle, and if you've never seen it, I'll throw a picture up on our Instagram, and you can take a look at that.
Pretty cool.
Maybe I'll take a picture of our cocktails too.
Yeah.
Which are delicious.
Yeah, we better
I
do
haven't
it
tried
quick
mine
before we drink
yet.
it.
No, Monica's ahead
Yeah,
of me.
Monica's gonna be laying on the floor by the time we're done.
So what's in this drink?
Oh, that is cool.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't see it back there.
Uh-uh.
Oh, I thought you did see
Uh-uh.
it.
Darn. So this is made, of course, with the Crystal Head vodka, and I muddled up some raspberries to give it the red color with mint to make it the mojito.
Oh, but just a hint. It tastes really good. I mean,
A hint
yeah.
of mint. And actually, well, mojitos are generally made with rum, but I'm not a huge rum fan.
Yeah.
So you're probably not going to get too many rum drinks here in the podcast lounge. So I muddled it up with some mint and a little splash of triple sec instead of sugar or simple syrup. I was going to make a simple syrup, but of course life gets in the way sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, yes, it does.
Simple can be best. So I muddled it up, poured it in the shaker with the vodka, and now I don't even remember. I had a bunch of juices in front of me. I think I did the pomegranate blueberry juice and lime, fresh squeezed lime, and we've got a little lime wheel as a garnish. And then after I shook it up and poured it, I added a splash of sparkling clementine flavor soda.
Wow.
Just a lot of little fruity flavors in there.
I love the citrus. Yeah. Like all
Yeah,
these
this
citrus
is like
drinks that
really good.
Well, good.
I really
Well,
like
Highly
let's
recommend
cheers.
that. Cheers. Yeah. Yes.
Cheers.
Well, like you said, Monica, we put a message out there to all our listeners and our friends and family to share some stories with us.
Right.
And it was really surprising the number of people who come out of the woodwork and
Yeah.
It's
say,
almost like,
hey, I got a story.
can I tell you this? Because I want to validate that I saw this. And, the fact
Right.
that someone will actually go like, oh, that's so cool. Like, I believe it. Not say, oh, you're
Yeah.
crazy. You're seeing things and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I think a lot of people I used to think, people would talk about it and they seemed almost like embarrassed, but now everybody's like, let me tell you my story.
Yes.
I've been waiting for someone to ask.
Yeah.
So I think it's great. I mean, and we did get a lot of outpouring from a lot of people, and then a lot of interest too. Like, well, what is this for? So
Right. I said, I'm
yeah.
working on a project. What's your
What is
project?
it?
so I think there's going to be a lot of new listeners this episode.
Yeah,
so
this is
welcome,
fun.
newbies.
Yes. Yeah, I'm Melanie.
I'm Ashley.
And I'm Monica.
And welcome to Girlfriends Happy Hour
Yes.
in the podcast lounge. And the other thing about hearing stories from people is you're looking in their eyes. They're talking to you, and you can see that they are absolutely 100% telling you the truth.
Yeah.
They're telling you what they experienced. Unlike, sometimes you read a story and you're like, oh, wow, that's creepy. But you're like, it could have been something.
Yeah.
I
Did
think
it
they're
happen?
imagining it.
That's true.
But my one girlfriend, Emily, told me this story. And I said, you've got to write this down and send it to me. And so I asked a lot of her. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Emily. But she had the spookiest, scariest story. It gave me chills. I can't believe that this went on for so long in this house.
Oh my gosh.
So I think what I'll do is I'm just going to read what she wrote to me.
Okay.
Okay.
Look at me. I'm like up in
ready.
my chair now ready to read this.
So get ready. Grab your cocktails, ladies.
Done. Check.
She says, I was about 18 or 19 and living in a house with 6 people, including myself. One night, 5 of us pulled out the Ouija board, or the talking board, and started playing around. We began communicating with what appeared to be a little girl, and eventually she let us know that she was 6 years old, and her name was Rita. Okay, so little Rita was with them. She said that also there was another person that they did talk to a couple times, and it was a 27-year-old Native American from the Chippewa tribe, he told them. But most of this, I think, we're going to attribute to the little 6-year-old girl named Rita. So she goes on to say, directly below us in the basement was our 6th roommate's bedroom. She'd been down there studying. This was when they first pulled out the Ouija board, studying on her computer. After we put away the board, she came upstairs, visibly upset, sweating, and said she didn't feel well and she just had to leave. And she just ran out. Emily says, after that, her personality began to change. She said, I've known her since we were little, and she never really wanted to be in the house after that. We didn't tell her about the Ouija board until much later. Actually didn't really even put it together. She was quite displeased with us when she found out, to say the least.
Oh my gosh.
And she will not really talk about this period of time, even now, years later.
That's freaky.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, she didn't even know they were on the Ouija board, and she was down there and she just came up just absolutely like ill and sweating and pale. Wow. So after the first time we used the board, strange things started happening around the house. Noises, voices, very weird and creepy shit.
People.
Here are a few examples.
Oh my gosh.
And there's quite a few examples, and they just kept piling up. It was crazy.
Share. I want to hear.
Okay. One night I pulled in the driveway and saw someone up in the window upstairs looking out. Then they turned and walked down the hallway. I went inside and went directly to the room of the only roommate I knew who was home at the time. He was sleeping in his bed. I shook him awake and asked if he had just been upstairs. He was super annoyed with me and was like, obviously not. I was sleeping.
You just woke me up.
You woke me up. I'm sleeping. There's nobody here. One time I was taking a shower, and these are the creepiest.
Oh God, isn't that? Don't you always think that?
Talk about because you're most vulnerable.
I say you're so vulnerable in
Yes.
the shower. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
my
In the
gosh.
shower, in the bathroom, doing whatever. So she says, I had my eyes shut to rinse off my hair when I felt a slight breeze. I opened I think she had told me she was like just relaxing and enjoying the heat and the steam from the shower. I opened my eyes and saw that the shower curtain had been pulled back and there was nobody around. To this day, I can't just relax in a nice steamy shower. I blink as quickly as possible when rinsing, never shutting my eyes for long.
I wouldn't either.
Yeah,
Neither.
Nope.
Come on.
Once is enough.
Just real quick interjection on that. I had spent the night at my girlfriend's house when I was in high school, and I'd gone to the bathroom and I had gone to the bathroom and I was going to take a shower. I opened the shower door and her brother was in there and jumped out and scared me. And I screamed and I started punching him. Her mom, she was so pissed at him.
Really?
Like, that is not acceptable at all.
No.
But so I say, anytime, even if I'm at a party or someone's house, I walk in the bathroom, I have to peek behind the
You
shower
check
curtain.
the shower
Okay,
first.
I would too.
Yeah.
So if I'm at your house, you just know that I'm going to
Okay.
be peeking behind your
If
shower
you, if
curtain.
you hear the shower curtain just squeeze, hold on open. You know why?
Wow.
Okay. Then she says, here's another instance. One of my roommates was walking down the hall and a thumbtack from a poster suddenly popped out and struck her in the arm. And that type of thing would happen regularly. Thumbtacks just shooting out of the wall.
And that's not normal.
No,
That is
not
that's
normal
creepy.
thumbtack.
It would just
Behavior.
fall to the ground.
Yeah.
It wouldn't shoot out directly at your arm.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. She said they frequently heard a little girl's voice calling for her cat. So exactly the way that Emily would call for her cat. She would go like, here, kitty, kitty, kitty. And they would hear, they'd be sitting and watching Netflix or whatever. So it would be multiple roommates home. And she said it was only her and one other girl in the house. The rest were guys. And so especially if they were together, they knew it certainly wasn't one of them.
Right. It wasn't. There was no more girls in the
Are
house.
they sure it was a little girl?
Yeah.
Because isn't that every time I hear that, I think it's a demon.
It's a demon from hell.
disguise. You know.
This guy is pretending to be a
Yes.
child.
That's what the movies would tell us for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Another time, she was sitting in the living room with one of her roommates. We had a window air conditioning unit, and we had hung. Oh, this one was freaky. Sorry, I just
go.
got chills when she was remembering her telling me this. We had hung blankets up across the large opening that goes into the other room to keep the cool air in the living room. Without warning, one side of the bottom of the blanket was raised up and then the other, as if someone had lifted it up from the bottom to peek under it at us. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Let that sink in.
That's creepy.
She's absolutely, there was nothing else that could be. It slowly raised one side at the bottom and raised the other side at the bottom. Yeah.
No.
No.
Oh
She
my
said we
God.
absolutely did not imagine it.
Why is she staying in the house? That's my first thought.
I know.
First sign. Bye-bye.
Well, you're young. You've got. I mean, she's got roommates. Like that's where she's
And
living.
ghosts, I would be
Yeah.
gone.
Yep.
And ghosts.
Let's see. One time, they were hanging out upstairs with a couple of her roommates. We could clearly hear our downstairs roommate talking and laughing as if she was on the phone.
Uh-huh.
Suddenly, we realized we were the only ones there, and she was not even home.
Wow.
Okay. Another time, I was sitting in the dark in the living room on my computer. You know how you're like in a dark room, you got the computer on, the computer.
Not if
glows
I know
on
there's
your
ghosts
face.
in the house. This is a brave woman. I'm right down.
She is that.
Oh my god.
She says, when I looked up across the room into the pitch dark adjoining room, that same one that the blankets were hanging from probably, this must have been in the summer. She says, I made eye contact with what was very clearly some kind of face and eyes staring at me. And she was just absolutely chilled.
Did she move out after that?
I'm
Oh
continuing.
my god. This
She
is
can't
killing
wait.
me.
She said this all happened over the course of about a year.
Okay.
Holy
Okay.
cow.
So a couple of days after the incident with the staring eyes, you're going to love this one, Monica.
Oh, okay.
After that incident with the staring eyes, we pulled out the Ouija board again. We asked the little girl if it was her that night. She said no. We asked who it was. The planchette slowly moved and stopped on the S. And then slowly it moved up to the A.
No.
Then it began to move back down to what was very clearly going to be the T.
No. Oh, shoot. No.
She says we all immediately dropped it and jumped as far away from the board as possible and threw the board.
Yeah.
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 Like what else would you do?
Oh, my gosh.
She says from time to time we would pull the board out and communicate with the little girl. Once when we were done with a session, we all headed upstairs and one of our roommates said he was just going to stay downstairs for a few minutes. Almost immediately he came running frantically up the stairs, crying and saying he felt a hand on his shoulder and very clearly a little girl's voice saying, "Good, we're alone now."
No.
What kind of creepy little girl is that?
I know,
Ew.
Oh, God.
And the little girl's supposedly 7. Well, she's quite worldly for her
Yeah,
age,
yeah.
isn't she?
Good.
Oh.
They did
Like-
things differently way back when. Okay. Shortly after that, I was in the house alone. And then she just said, over time, none of us ever wanted to be home alone. They'd call each other before coming home to make sure that there were others around.
Yeah.
Yeah. She says, suddenly I heard a really loud bang and a yell, a voice coming from the basement. She says, I grabbed my dog and we went to the park. I immediately called up a friend who she knew could help her out, put me in touch with these 2 gay guys who ran a spiritual church here in town. So they came over that very day to do a cleansing. She says, I didn't tell them anything except there was some bad energy and vibes in the house. When they walked in, the first thing they did was gesture to the closed basement door and said knowingly, we're not even going to go down there yet.
Oh, boy.
And as they walked around, they pointed out exactly what areas we had used the Ouija board. They knew. So apparently they explained to her that the Ouija board opens a portal
Yes,
that
it
runs
does.
vertically up and down, which, again, her poor basement roommate. She said, which is why my poor basement roommate had been feeling so awful. The entity was feeding off her energy. You know, she was feeling sick and just not herself anymore.
Oh, my gosh.
How could they see that? Or do they
the guys,
the spiritual,
the
they're
spiritual
spiritualists?
guys.
Are they like
Oh,
mediums?
No, I'm not a spiritual
Are they
medium.
like mediums, or what is the?
It
I just
could
didn't
be.
know how they could feel the energy or see the energy. Or?
She did kind of explain to me like who they were and what they did, but I mean at this point, and she didn't write it in here, but at this point I was kind of like just freaking out, like just listening and just shocked and like, oh my gosh, what, I can't believe that you went through all this.
All of it over the course of a year. That'd be
Yes.
a terrible year.
So they did whatever stuff that they do for cleansing the house. And she says after that day, we didn't really experience anything too concerning. The dryer door would randomly slam shut once in a while.
But after all that, that was nothing.
That was
If you've
just
got
nothing.
ghosts doing your laundry, then I'm good to go.
Right.
With that, that's fine.
So just one more paragraph.
Oh, my gosh.
Here's the craziest part of the entire story.
Oh, okay.
We were renting the house from one of my roommate's grandpas. We went over one day about a year after the cleansing and mentioned some of what had happened. He went and pulled out some old newspaper articles from 1968, which told of a 6-year-old girl who had died of strange circumstances in the house. Her dad was a policeman. They had lived in the house and just never found out what had happened to her.
Wow.
She was 6.
Mm-hmm.
What was her name? Rita.
Yeah. Well, I don't. I'm not sure. I think so. I think that's what tied it in.
No. Poor girl. So she's just stuck in a limbo.
Yeah. I've got to feel sad for her. And she just wanted to play with the kitty and play with her roommates somehow.
Strange circumstances.
Yeah.
And just FYI, don't do it with a Ouija board. Every time I hear a story that begins, we pulled out the Ouija board, and I'm like, oh, here comes the devil. Here come demons. You're in trouble
Here
now.
Here, hold my beer. Nothing
Yeah.
good ever happens after that.
Nothing good ever comes from that.
Oh my gosh. Ashley, you said that you had done some research and
I did, and I like I said, we've talked in past episodes. I've said how I've, played. I hate to use that word, but
Yeah, 'cause
it's
not.
technically like a parlor game. So I've used a Ouija board in the past.
a talking board,
a talking board, and
That's what they
I
say
was
in
never
Supernatural.
talking board and Supernatural.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. So I've done research in the past, but I decided to do a little bit more research just on the origin stories of what a Ouija board was. So
Oh, cool.
And why did it come? I mean, who thought, let's make this?
Yeah.
And then the spirits will talk to us.
definitely no. So
Ashley
and that
will
was
tell
my
us.
I have a little bit of just a little history here.
Okay.
The actual inception of like the idea has been shrouded in mystery, and many historians are unable to accurately pinpoint where the original idea for a talking board came to be. So most people don't know. Yeah, well, I mean,
The
devil did it. The devil did it. So most people can't. They can't figure out where, and some people have spent years researching where the idea came from. But from what we can gather, the Ouija board, as we know today, stemmed from an Associated Press report from 1886 on a new phenomenon that was taking over the spiritualist camps in Ohio. The talking board, which is what it was called then, for all intents and purposes, was, a Ouija board with letters, numbers, and a planchette-like device to point to them. The article went all over the U.S., but it was Charles Kennard of Baltimore, Maryland, who acted on this idea that he was reading about, because it was mostly just a concept that people were using, but it wasn't an actual board yet.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Charles.
Yep. So Charles Kennard of Baltimore, in 1890, he pulled together a group of 4 other investors for a startup group he called Kennard Novelty Company. And it was ran by 2 men with the last names of Bond and Peters. And it was created as a response to this growing interest in spiritualism.
Which was big in the 1800s.
So in the
wasn't it?
1800s, it came over. It was popular in England, and it slowly became popular in the United States. It was more of a spiritualist thing. People were interested in the unknown, especially during an age when life expectancy was so low. Women were often dying from childbirth.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
children were dying from illness so young. So people were desperate to find a way to communicate with those lost ones, their lost loved ones. Wow. So it stemmed from more of a spiritual, almost a religious point of trying to figure out how to talk with their loved ones. So it was started out kind of religious.
And didn't turn out that way for long.
So they produced the first board in 1891. They were searching for a patent for many years, and they finally were able to do this. They were able to actually make a board after scaring the crap out of the patent officer by asking the board to accurately spell out this patent officer's last name, which was, quotation marks, apparently unknown by Bond and Peters, though that's up for speculation whether they knew what his last name was. Obviously, they knew what his last name was.
Okay.
And he okayed it. They started production and made a ton of money right off the bat. And this company was later bought out by a man named William Fuld of the Fuld Company. And he is usually credited as the creator. But it was actually this novelty company that actually started it. But William Fuld is typically noted in articles as being the creator. Unfortunately for that novelty company. This company, the Fuld Company, was later bought out by Parker Brothers in 1966. A little fact about William Fuld: he died in 1927 after a freak fall from the roof of his new factory, a factory he said the Ouija board told him to build.
Oh, geez.
So that's what happened to one of the creators, the mass producers of it. Little backstory on the name, on how Ouija board. How the Ouija name came to be. Many people think that it is from the French word for yes, oui, oui, and the German word for yes, ja, or ja, Ouija. We say Ouija. I think it's supposed to be Ouija, but
You say Ouija, we say Ouija.
Yeah.
Ouija.
Tomato,
Ouija.
tomato.
But based on this man named Murch, last name Murch, who's done most of this research, he says he found that it was Bond, who was part of the Fuld Company. His sister-in-law, Helen Peters, who was a medium, said that she came up with the name sitting around the table. They had the Ouija board in front of them. They asked what they should call the board. The name Ouija came through, and when they asked what that meant, the board replied, "Good luck."
Wow.
Not like, hey, good luck.
Yeah,
yeah.
Good luck.
Good luck.
And this article says eerie and cryptic, but for the fact that Peters acknowledged that she was wearing a locket bearing the picture of a woman, the name Ouija above her head, in this locket, this picture on the locket. That's the story that emerged from the founder's letters. It's very possible that the woman in the locket was a famous author and popular women's rights activist, Ouida, whom Peter admired, and that Ouija was just a misreading of that.
Oh.
So may have not been eerie at all. May have just been a thought in his head. So I'll get to that a little bit later. So anyways, so Parker Brothers bought out the Fuld Company in 1966. It was still it was considered a parlor game, as I said. It was family friendly fun. Most
I
people
got
thought.
one for Christmas
It
once
was-
from my parents.
Yep.
Here, honey,
yep.
here's the board. We're going to bring demons in the house. Have fun.
Well, at
Oh.
the time, it was considered like a mysterious, fun game to talk to spirits, and it wasn't considered scary at all. So it was like a regular board game, and it sold more than Monopoly at the time. So it sold even more games than Monopoly, until in 1973 when the film The Exorcist.
I knew you were going to say that.
So
Oh, did you consult your Ouija board before that?
That
She
thing's
knew.
gone.
So in 1973, when The Exorcist film came out, and in the film, Reagan plays with a Ouija board by herself and then is later possessed. Almost overnight, the Ouija board became a tool of the devil, and for that reason, a tool for horror writers and movie makers.
Sure.
To
And
create-
thank that.
and
I
Yeah,
thank
it,
them for
it
that.
does.
That
Yeah,
film.
it is pretty cool.
It began popping up in scary movies, usually opening the door to evil spirits hellbent on ripping apart co-eds. Outside of the theater, the following years saw the Ouija board denounced by religious groups now as Satan's preferred method of communication. So it really was considered a positive thing until the Exorcist movie, and then it instantly became an evil thing. Parker Brothers, and then later Hasbro, who bought out the rights in 1991, still sold hundreds of thousands of them, but now they were considered spooky and no longer spiritual. However, contrary to all this, the scientific community disputes claims that the boards are run by spirits or demons, but rather something called the ideomotor effect.
Oh, here we go. Here's the science.
Okay.
So the ideomotor effect is, as it's explained, this is from a Wikipedia article. It's a reflexive response to pain, typically the pain, but the body sometimes reacts reflexively to ideas alone. So only ideas without the person consciously deciding to take action. So it's a subconscious thing. The effects of automatic writing, facilitated communication, and Ouija boards have been attributed to this phenomenon. They even did live studies to test this theory to see if it would even hold true. Participants for this study were told that they were playing the Ouija board. They were using the Ouija board by themselves with a person in another room via teleconferencing. So there was, they said the robot, they were told, mimicked the movements of the other person. In actuality, the robot's movements simply amplified the participant's motions, and the person in the other room was just a ruse, a way to get the participant to think that they were not in control. They would ask the people running the test, they would ask them a series of questions verbally, and they would get, and these were like just random questions, trivia questions kind of thing, and they would get them right about 50% of the time. But when they used the Ouija board to obtain the answers, as the participants were believing that they were receiving help from elsewhere, they would guess them right 65% of the time.
What?
That's weird.
Leaving implications that the non-conscious mind was a lot smarter than anyone realized.
Oh, well, I can
And a lot
believe
more
that.
more
What
influential.
was his name again? Idia.
It's the ideomotor effect. So
Okay,
it's,
see,
it's
now you asked me the minute I heard that, I thought, oh, that must be the original term for idiot.
ideomotor effect. So it's basically idea and motor functions kind of
Yeah.
combined together.
Oh, I totally believe in the subconscious.
Yep.
Very,
Yeah.
So almost your subconscious mind, your non-conscious mind, knows more and is able to act out things more than you don't even understand how much your subconscious mind knows. If you're thinking about it too much, like they said, they get more questions wrong when they're answering verbally than when they're thinking about what the answer is and moving the planchette themselves, thinking that they're not even doing any of the work, but they're doing all of the work. So after this is kind of how we're left with this article. It says, and this is the last line, it says, the board does offer a link between the known and the unknown, just not the unknown that everyone wanted to believe it was.
Exactly.
And this was an article. This was a great article. There's a lot more detail in it, but it was written by the Smithsonian magazine, smithsonianmag.com. So it's from a historical website, so I thought it would gain a little bit more,
that makes
little
it
more
seem-
credibility
Yeah.
than Wikipedia.
Yeah.
So I thought,
Yeah.
well, I'll look into it. I do
Yeah.
have a little, just a small little trivia question for you. See
Oh,
if either
boy.
one of you can get it right.
Well, give me a Ouija board. Let me
Yeah,
see.
if you can get it.
Yeah. No.
How much did the Ouija boards initially sell for in 1891?
2 cents.
Melanie says 2 cents. Monica says
I'm gonna go with 75 cents.
75.
the answer is $1.50.
Oh my God.
I was closer.
More than I thought.
That's like a car.
That's a
back
lot of
then.
money back then, you know?
Car.
You could buy a house for
Wait,
that.
what?
Yep. When they originally were out, that's how much they sold
In
for.
18, what year?
$18.91. $1.50.
Whoa.
Yep.
Like, what would that be in
That's like a
today's
dress.
dollars?
Wouldn't you think, though, like back in that time?
Well,
I
who's
didn't do
buying the dress?
conversions,
You or
but-
me?
Yeah.
So yes,
Oh my
that's what I've
gosh.
kind of. So it's up to you after hearing Emily's story and then listening to that. It's up to you what you think really propels a Ouija board. What
Yeah.
makes it work? Is it your subconscious or is it spirits and demons?
Do you really need one in your house? Monica says no.
Either way.
Monica's on the no camp.
Monica's not a fan of that
She's
board.
not a fan.
Well, why take the chance, right? No, when I was at college, we were in the dorm, and there was a girl down the dorm who was really into it, and she took it so seriously. And one night, we got together and we were going to do it, and some people were joking around.
Yeah.
And she was just pissed off. She's like, "Don't you joke about this? This is serious stuff." And I did it, and I like, it was the weirdest sensation because it felt like, because you rest your fingertips really lightly on the planchette, and it just feels like it just moves all by itself.
So there is, so depending on what you believe, but if you believe it's true and you decide to take part in a Ouija board session, there are definitely websites devoted to how to use them safely, in quotation safely, because if
that is
but,
possible.
You aren't supposed to let the planchette do a figure 8 on the board. If it starts to do a figure 8, you're opening a portal.
Oh, that's right. I did hear that.
You're not supposed to let it skim across the numbers all the way on the bottom. You're not supposed to let it go from 0 to 9, I believe it is. You're not supposed to let it skim across the numbers. And then if you do feel uncomfortable, you're really technically not supposed to just stop and leave it. You're supposed to
close the
session. You're supposed to politely close the session, and then you always take the planchette off the board. You never leave it. You never store them together. You're supposed to store them separately.
See, and
because you leave it open.
you do, and thinking back to all the horror movies that you've seen, that's what they do.
So even
it does something scary, so they all just run out of the room, and I'm like, and it's sitting right on top of it.
So when we used to do it, we had our family reunions, and my cousins and I would do it. We made our own. We made everything, the planchette and the board itself. We always told people we have to open it politely, close it politely. If we're ever uncomfortable, somebody can give us a sign that you're uncomfortable. We can close it, and then we always take it off the board. And then when we stored it, and it's still there. 15 years later, 10 years later, it's stored in separate places at camp.
Well,
the
there's
planchette and the board.
a special way to dispose of it too.
I don't know this because I've heard different things about
I've heard
it.
never burn it. That's the one thing I heard.
See, and I've heard some people say burn it, some people say don't burn it. So I
Yeah.
don't know what the right way is.
I would salt and burn it.
Salt.
I
Or
would
sell
pull
it at a garage
Winchester
sale.
on it.
I think salt.
Sell it at a garage sale. Make it somebody else's.
Make somebody
problem.
else, yeah. Ooh, that's just
So-
creepy, isn't
It's a
it?
little history, a little creepy story, and a little
Yeah.
history on the Ouija board.
Yikes.
Oh my gosh. So
Ugh.
so you got one for Christmas from your parents.
I
Monica.
did, and I was probably 9 when I got it.
Oh, really?
It's like, hey, let's give Monica this demonic board to play with. That'll be great. She can get new friends that way. No, thank you.
Yeah. Monica's
Hey, Monica,
lonely.
go ahead and open up a portal. Get some new friends in here for you.
Yeah. See how many friends you get
Oh
through
my
that
God.
portal. It'll be fun.
That's
I
creepy.
got one. His name is Lucifer.
Yeah.
And
And there's this, and then his son Spawn of Satan. Yeah. No, thank you. Wow,
Oh,
that's
man.
just unbelievable.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. What do you guys think? Shoot us a message.
Yeah.
Tell us what you think.
Tell
Send
us
us
your
your
opinions.
story.
I know. I would love these short, long. I don't care. I want to hear.
Yeah.
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 Yep.
There was a few, speaking of showers, my friend Sandy told me a quick story too. She said, she was in the shower, or she had turned it on, and it was starting to get steamed up. And on the glass, very clearly, there was a handprint, a large handprint, larger than anyone else in the house. She said there was no soap residue or shampoo or anything underneath that would cause it not to steam up. You know what I mean?
Yes.
To make that handprint, because the rest of the glass was all steamed. And she kind of freaked out a little bit, but she said, you're not welcome in my shower, get out. So she basically told it to get out, and it just kind of steamed over, and that was it. So just, little things like that could go either way. It could be like, well, did you imagine it? But then again, it's like, I don't know. I believe her. I believe everything. I have an open mind.
I'm one of those, I'll believe you until I'm proven wrong. But, the thing is, then I watch a lot of those fun shows just because they're fun and silly, like paranormal, this and that, and the other thing, and they're always, the family has been besieged by ghosts and they don't know how to do it. So the paranormal investigators come in. Lo and behold, they'd been messing around with the Ouija board and, the ghosts in their house. I'm like, people, come on. Watch the Travel Channel. Learn not to do this sort of thing.
Yeah. Oh, well, speaking of like spiritual cleansings, another friend of mine wrote in a story. She actually is with this group. It's called the I don't know if she wants me to share the group name, but it's a paranormal society.
There's quite a few in Michigan, actually.
Oh, okay, yeah. So
I've looked into her particular one to join it.
I thought I was going to talk to you because you, in the past, have wanted to get into that. And you were going to buy some equipment. And
I did buy some cheap equipment one year. Just one little. It was an
EKG thing or something.
It was not an EKG. It was electromagnetic frequency EMF reader.
EMF.
Okay.
Which I feel like pretty much equated to a stud finder to find like nails in the wall is what I sort of after a while was like, I think
thought
this
you
is
meant,
what
stud finder.
I mean,
you
that
got
too.
studs in your wall. We're in the wrong place.
Yeah.
I know.
No, but after a while I was like, I think it's just the stud finder. I don't think it's doing anything because it was
That's
cheap.
so funny.
But I was into that for a very long time, and I did a couple investigations, and I don't know, like.
Wait, so when I said EKG, that's like
heart monitor, yeah.
Well, you know what?
Gonna say
If we
it.
go
I was
on,
just gonna go with it.
If she's pulling out the EMF, I'm going to need that because my heart will probably explode. So I'm going to need to have that ready.
One of each.
So
no, call me on my stupid crap. I say that's fine with me. I don't want to let it go and then like 2 days later be like, oh my god,
did I say that?
Oh gosh.
Oh, speaking of, I do have a little correction.
Little dunce corner.
Just a little dunce corner, real quick. Last episode when we were talking about the snowman, how we wanted to watch it.
Yeah.
I said that Jeremy Renner was in that movie. Jeremy Renner is not in that movie. It is Michael Fassbender. That is my correction for the day. Okay. I was insisting that it was Jeremy Renner, and I don't know why, but it's definitely not him. It's
well,
Michael
you know
Fassbender.
what? First of all, congratulations for not wanting to back down until you had proof.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah,
I was listening to it. I was like,
no,
it's not.
No, it's not.
And also, that movie got terrible reviews, and I no longer want to see it.
I don't either.
So
it's like, fine, thank you, America. You've ruined the movie.
Backtrack on what we said last episode about wanting to watch it.
Yeah.
Oh, and
thank you.
Oh, I was going to say, hold on. Speaking of that, my stupid joke about the snowman when I'm like, wasn't that a Tim Allen movie? It was so stupid. It was Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton. And I was like, no, not that. But that was exactly the one I was thinking of.
Jack Frost. We
Yeah.
knew.
But when
We
you
both
said
said
Jack,
it, and then
when
you
you
were
said
like,
Jack
no.
Frost, I was thinking of the Santa Claus 3, where Martin Short was Jack Frost, and that my whole I started out, it was a funny joke. Well, yeah, to me it was funny.
In my head, it was hilarious.
Yeah, it was hilarious. And then I'm like, wait, no, that's not it. Wait, is it? And it was really stupid. So you guys try recording your conversations and not editing this stupid shit out. See how long it takes.
That's when all the comes out and you don't know what you're saying.
Yeah.
But a real quick thing about orbs too, and I should try and find the picture. My husband and I were staying on Mackinac Island, and
full of spirits, by the way.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, they're everywhere on the island. And my husband had gone, just, kind of walking around, taking some pictures and stuff. And of course, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to rest. FYI, I went to the bar. So he went into that little stone church that's at the hill below the Grand Hotel.
My sister-in-law got married there.
Did she? He walked in and just started snapping some photos, came back and showed them to me on his camera. And it was just full of orbs. In fact, they have there's a paranormal group that works the summer on the islands, and I took that to them, and they are like, oh my God, can we get a copy of this? Can we have that? I mean, they were blown away.
Well, share.
I will. It's on
I
my
was
computer
like,
at work.
why haven't I seen this?
Yeah, it was amazing.
They do have ghosts. Yeah, they have nighttime ghost tours there.
Yep,
I've always
I've done
wanted
those.
to.
They're
I've
fun.
always wanted to do one on Mackinac
You know what's
Island.
really
I just
cool about
haven't.
it? They give you a glow stick to wear around your neck.
Perfect.
Does that keep you safe from the
No, but it's
spirits?
just fun. But it's
Feel
like,
better.
in fact, one of the places we like to go is the Seabiscuit. Apparently, at one point, it used to be a bank or something, and the ghost of a banker. Every now and then you see him just kind of walk through and go back to the bathrooms, which apparently was where his office used to be located or something. So many people have seen that. And
Well, wait. So pretty much the most boring
I was
ghost
gonna
of all
say
time.
that too.
Yeah.
I'm like, that
You're gonna-
sucks. You're
you're
a
gonna be
banker,
a banker. Yeah.
forever. God.
boo, give me
Poor
your
guy.
deposit
No.
slip.
Going to the bathroom every day.
Yeah.
Just a banker.
But the one thing they say on the island is whenever anybody digs for something, I mean, if you're building a house or if you're putting something new in, the first thing out of someone's mouth is, so how many bones did you find? Because
Right.
that's what they always do. They always find bones.
Well, it was a whole battlefield.
Yeah.
It was-
Yep.
Yeah. A lot of cool history there.
That's wild.
So here's the story that my friend Michelle wrote in, who does the cleansing, and she actually told me, a lot of really cool stuff. She says she's
She's actually witnessed these things, obviously.
oh yeah, definitely. She does these home cleansing. She says she's seen things since she was little. A lot of people in her family.
What do they call that? A sensitive? What is that when you?
Empath?
Oh, that's
I don't know. Like, yeah, there's a lot of different names for it too.
maybe just aware,
Yeah.
more aware of
Yeah.
your surroundings than others.
I'll have to get in touch with her because I'd like to join this group.
Oh yeah, definitely. She'd probably love to hear from you. I loved our messaging back and forth, and that was the other thing. It's like it's not something you really talk about
Yeah.
with the vast majority of people because they first look at you like you're crazy,
That's true. Yeah.
and then they're like, "Well, that's stupid," and
Yeah.
So here's her story. She says, a friend of mine had given me a call one day to say that she and her boyfriend had broken up and that he had purchased a new home here in the Michigan area. In the Michigan area.
Okay.
Just
Here,
all
hold
of
up your
Michigan.
hand. All
Yeah.
of Michigan. And she didn't write that. I wrote that. I wasn't specific. She had said that he had awakened several times during the night and would see a dark shadow at the foot of his bed in his brand new home. This is a new home. This was happening to someone that didn't believe in the afterlife. So he's totally a skeptic.
Okay.
And yet he's telling her this story. Michelle goes on to say, I think that was a lot of why they didn't work out. She's very in tune and open-minded, and apparently he is not. He hadn't been there but for just a month and kept seeing a dark figure during the night. He even thought he could feel something at the foot of the bed. He called and asked my friend if she could find a way to help. She called me because I'm a paranormal investigator. What we needed was to do a spiritual cleansing of the home for this new buyer. 5 of us went to his home one Saturday while he was away. My goal was to get whatever energy I could find out of the home. I went down into the basement and it was really clean. Nothing was down there, and the home wasn't more than 10 years old. It was in a newer subdivision. It didn't have any open windows and no one else was in the home. With a blessing with sage and holy water, we had gone to St. Catherine's first. I asked 2 or 3 times as we had just started for the spirit to leave the home. The next thing we know, the door at the top of the basement stairs slammed shut.
Okay.
No windows, no doors open. The basement door is hidden in the kitchen. I opened the entrance to the garage door up, thinking maybe the main garage door was open and a suction or wind happened, but nope, it was closed.
Oh.
Not a breeze anywhere. So anyway, we finished, hoping that the entity had left and slammed that door on their way out. Don't let the door hit you in the
Yeah,
nose
the way out. Yeah, bye-bye.
We didn't know this yet, nor did the buyer of the home. But after about a month, I followed up with him. The vision, the entity had stopped coming around. In fact, he hasn't had any issues since then. And he became a believer of afterlife, but only when he met his neighbor outside while he was mowing the lawn one day. The neighbor came over and introduced himself and informed him that a man had committed suicide in his home before he purchased it. Bingo.
Oh my
That's
God.
what it is.
Yes. So that was the validation he needed to believe, and the validation of a job well done for us 5 badass women that went in to shoo that ghost away.
Yeah.
And then she closes it with, yes, spirits do live among us.
That's a cool
Nice.
story. Oh, that was fun.
See, yeah, and you don't hear a lot about that. Like the house was only 10 years old. It's in a new subdivision. You're thinking, there's nothing here. Why?
and
What is
then
wrong?
you start going, well, what was the land before this? You know, what happened
yeah.
here?
Well, that's what I was telling my friend who was telling the first story I read there. I said, I always feel really safe in my house because, my husband built it. Nobody else has lived here that has died or no violent things have happened. We know I'm pretty sure nothing weird was here.
What? No, because if it did, it was a long time ago. Because when we bought our homes, there were massive trees everywhere.
Oh,
So
yeah, that's
to
true.
me, right there, it's a good time. Yeah.
Foresty area before we, tore down all those trees.
Yeah,
and ripped
plopped
everything
our
out.
home down. Yeah, right there.
Urban sprawl.
The spirits of the trees are haunting your house. No.
Oh, that
could be it.
But that, and then I have my dog who, she, as we all look over at her, she's laying there.
Big
so
lump on the
pathetic.
floor. She's a rug.
Oh, she's old. But she alerts me to, you always kind of count on your pets to alert you to weird things going on.
I don't, because my pets have always just stopped and they'll stare at something. I'm like, quit it.
What are
Like,
you
you're
doing?
freaking me out.
Especially the
Just
cats.
Stop it. Oh, my gosh.
Well, you have a story about your cat in your dad's photo. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
No, I don't remember that.
Well, first of all, a couple days after your dad passed, and the cat showed up at your mom's house.
Oh, Luna.
Yes.
That's right. Yeah. So basically, we stole the cat.
So, Luna showed up at your. I have to
She
remind
did.
Monica of her stories
No, that's right. Well, yeah, I did.
because she has so many.
Yeah. No, she did. She was like, and she'd been hanging around my mom's house, and it was the day of my dad's funeral that
Okay.
we took her. We
Took
took
her
her
home.
It's our cat now.
Yeah, she's ours. Well, she's beautiful. But anyway, didn't you have a picture of your dad on your table, like by the couch?
Yeah, still is.
And she would jump up and just sit there.
Oh my gosh! You know what? I think I have mentally blocked that out. I remember that now.
Oh, you complete that. You told
Because
us all
it's
about
a picture of my dad who used to smoke a pipe, and I've got one of his pipes right there. And she, oh my God, I can't believe I forgot about that.
I didn't
I wonder
forget.
if it was just
Melanie
me
has
just,
impeccable memory.
I wonder if it was me just kind of blocking it
Maybe,
out.
maybe
Could
it
be.
freaks you out
I'm
a little
sorry
bit.
if
Yeah.
I brought up a bad.
No,
I
but
think it's a good memory.
it
though, that you
is.
should keep.
How fun is that? I forgot about
And
that.
to think Kevin's your favorite, not Luna.
Not Luna. Yep. Kevin's my boy.
Oh,
Little
boy.
stinker.
Kevin.
Wow. Okay, great. Now I'm sufficiently not going to sleep tonight. Great.
Yeah.
So that was, wow, that's amazing. I love talking about this kind of thing, don't you?
Yep.
Yes. I
Especially
think
when
we
it
should-
happens to other people.
Well, and I have so many more stories that people have shared, but we just don't have time right
Yeah.
now. So we should dedicate maybe either some special episodes
Yeah.
or talk about it in the next episode too.
Yeah.
But I thought, well, we all thought since it was October
Yeah.
and Halloween time.
I'm gonna be sad when October's over. I
No,
mean, not
you know
that
what, though?
we not that we
There's always
can't talk
so many
about this.
places
But
like hotels and stuff that are haunted that, maybe it's a couple that both like that sort of thing. It's like, let us know if there's, that
Yeah.
maybe someone want to go vacation there,
even if it's November, we can still talk about this spooky stuff. We
Absolutely.
like it.
Yeah.
Send
Seems
us
to
your-
be around, 24/7 anyways, might as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. So send us your stories. Like our Facebook page, follow us on Twitter, rate, review, subscribe to our podcast
Yes,
on
please.
iTunes or Stitcher or wherever you listen to podcasts. We'll be sharing the episode.
And can I just tell you too, I flew back from Phoenix and that's what I just put my headphones on and I was just listening to our podcast and all that, laughing, all these little things, it's because when you're talking with a group, sometimes you forget. So it was like, I got to be kind of removed, step back, listening. I'm like, oh, that was kind of fun to listen to. I enjoyed it. It was cool.
Right. And there's also a survey that would be awesome if you guys filled out. Just check our, wherever, Facebook, Twitter.
We're all over. We're very easy to find.
we get around.
Very easy to find.
Girlfriendshappyhour at gmail.com is our email address.
And if you ever want to join us, remember there's always a seat at the bar right here in the podcast lounge waiting for you with one of Melanie's fabulous drinks.
That's
Yes.
right. Oh, and as always, I'll post the recipe.
Yay.
Well, this one's a hard one because I just threw a bunch of
You know
stuff
what
in
though?
there.
This one's really good though.
Well,
too.
good. Awesome.
Yeah,
well,
it's
guys,
great.
thanks so much for hanging out with us.
We appreciate it.
And
Thank
we
you.
look forward to seeing you next time.
And send us your stories.
Yes. All right.
right.
Cheers.
Cheers.